Let's talk about the narrow path. In Matthew 7:13, Yeshua said, "Broad is the path that leads to destruction, and narrow is the path that leads to salvation, and there are few that find it." In Matthew 22:14, Jesus said, "Many are called, and few are chosen." In Matthew 7:23, Jesus said he's going to turn away believers and say, "Go away from me. I never knew you, you who work lawlessness." And still, mainstream Christianity, nobody can put this together. There are 2 billion people alive right now that are professing Christians and that go by the mainstream doctrine that misinterprets Paul's letters and says we don't have to follow the commandments of God. All we need is faith. Brushing over the fact that 1 John 3:4 says sin is transgression of the law. Thereby, the definition of lawlessness is not following God's laws, and the Christian church is telling you that you no longer have to follow God's laws. And that leads us back to the narrow path. Let's just talk about today, not who's lived all throughout history. Jesus said narrow is the path. Does 2 billion people sound like the narrow path? He said many are called, few are chosen. Does 2 billion sound like the few? Let's review what me and my friends on TikTok and YouTube are teaching you. The Torah-observant Christian population is teaching you that you need faith and you need obedience and you need to walk it out in love. That all three of those are just as important as the other ones. It's not just by love, it's not just by faith, and it's not just by obedience. And there's not a lot of us teaching this. And as far as I'm aware, the only other people teaching anything like this only have a little piece of the puzzle. Some people will say, "Oh yeah, you have to follow the Sabbath," but nothing else. Others will say, "Oh yeah, you should follow the dietary laws," but nothing else. "Oh yeah, you should follow the 10 Commandments, but nothing else." "Oh, those 7 Noahide laws, definitely follow those, but nothing else." But as a whole, Torah-observant Christians are telling you that to show God you love Him, you need to be as obedient as you can. Follow whatever laws you are able to follow. It's not that hard. God even says it in Deuteronomy 30:11. And Jesus says, "If you love me, keep the commandments." The whole Bible matters, the front and the back. The biggest ministry on TikTok has 45,000 followers. The 2 biggest ministries on YouTube has about 125,000 each. And I know that's all doubled up, because everybody in this community follows everybody else that's doing it. But really stretching it, there's only 500,000 people on Earth doing this. That's 0.02% of 2 billion people.